In this third session of dealing with changes, I'd like to mention that we already talked about getting involved in your teenager's life as one of the first ways of dealing with changes. And then we talked about overprotection versus letting go. We talked about the need to give your children responsibilities. We talked about the whole area of pocket money. And then in the last session, before we concluded, we had talked about decision making. And we concluded by telling you the story of how we helped Michael with the habit of watching television, and how we had decided that we'll take the TV away for 2 weeks. And Michael looked at his sister, and the sister agreed. Then Michael turned to Dad and Mom and says, Dad and Mom, you know, it's not really TV that I want to watch, but when I come from school, I'm so tired. I just want to do something fresh before I go back to my studies. And then he paused and looked at me and says, Dad, can you buy me a bicycle? Wow, that's a legitimate request. The young man wants a bicycle so he can ride it for about 30 minutes to an hour after school and before his studies. You know, the only appropriate answer was, yes, I'll get you a bicycle. Now, it's not in this month's budget. It may take a couple of months. Let's pray about it, and God willing, we'll get you that bicycle. Now, my children, when they hear the word God willing, they think, oh my goodness, that may take forever. But you know, within a day or two, a friend of ours came to visit. And she came and said, you know, Stan, I have a bicycle I bought some years ago. It's a couple of years ago, but I've probably ridden it once or twice because I get home late. I have no time to ride that bicycle. And then she looked at me and asked, do you think your children could ride it? And Michael was listening from a distance. I can just imagine his ears really perked and just listening. What's Daddy going to say? And I asked our guest, well, you know, we could buy it from you. How much do you want for it? And the guest said, you know, I spent 12,000 shillings, which is about $120 to buy that bicycle. I could sell it to you for half the price. It's really practically new. And he said, if you like it, I can drop it off tomorrow and take your time in paying for it. You can guess it. Michael got his bicycle the next day. You know, we learned a lesson. Sometimes children are doing what they are doing not because they're trying to rebel against you. They're just tired. And the way we handled that was to involve Mindy in the decision, to talk to Michael about it, to allow him to express himself as to what he really wanted to do. And then we met his need, and life continued. Remember to involve your children in decision making. These decisions may be property purchasing decisions. You're going out to buy a piece of property in a very remote place. Take your children with you. Let them ask you questions. Dad, why are you buying land in this remote place? You explain to them how land appreciates, how that's a form of savings in Africa, and how 10 years from now, when they are ready for college, or 5 years from now, when they are graduating from college and transitioning into work, this property can be sold and money can be received that will help them with the different aspects of their lives. Number 6, avoid inappropriate discipline. Avoid discipline that is too harsh. Avoid discipline that is too lax. Some parents pride themselves in the fact that they have never physically disciplined their children. Oh, but those parents spew very harsh words from their mouths and keep on shouting at their children. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't scare your children. Don't spoil spontaneity in the way that you're acting towards them. Don't kill their aliveness. So avoid discipline that is too harsh. Avoid discipline that is too lax. Avoid discipline that is inconsistent, because it results in children lacking values. A child could be easily confused by your unpredictable nature as you approach the whole area of discipline. So avoid it. This, of course, means that we have to grow up as parents. Number 7, create an appropriate atmosphere in the home. that will allow children to express themselves easily. Meal times could be one of these. In our home, we lingered over meal times. We told jokes, we laughed. We did not embarrass each other during meal times. If there was something that needs to be said, say it in private. Use jokes to reduce tension. Use humor to reduce tension. Avoid sarcasm, because sarcasm is usually humor at the expense of somebody else. Avoid it. Avoid using the meal times to resolve big issues, unless they are issues that are not affecting a particular person emotionally and you can talk through them. You can use them to make decisions, but not to resolve an issue with one child while others are listening in. Point number 8 is family devotions. Family devotions. When the kids were younger, we used to read to them, and we were the ones leading the family devotions. But now they're getting older, and you want a family devotion that is participatory. You want them to be engaged in the family devotion. Avoid using this time as your preaching time, but let the children take charge of leading the family devotions so that they can continue even when you are absent from the home. Let them lead it, let them pray through it, let them be the ones reading through the scriptures. It also gives you a chance to know, has the child really connected with the Lord? Or is this child sailing on the faith of their parents and maybe finding it difficult to connect directly with God when they leave home? Number 9, love the child. Simply love the child and express this love verbally, express it through touch. Remember what Psalm 139 verse 14 says, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Avoid a situation where the child feels rejected. Ignoring a child or not being available to the child is not a good thing. As mentioned earlier in the story of the prodigal son, the quiet and withdrawn child could easily get into more trouble than the loud and defiant child. Remember to oil both wheels in child raising. Point number 10, communication. Communicate despite the leave me alone nonverbal communication that may be coming from your child. A child comes home one afternoon and they have a weird hairstyle. Perhaps they have shaved their hair to look bald and they have colored the rest of their hair gray, and they walk in there thinking, oh my goodness, you look horrible. Now instead of responding like that, look at them and says, oh my goodness, Simon, you look interesting. Tell me about that hairstyle. Now, it may be Saturday afternoon, and there's going to be a play in church, and Simon has decided to take the part of Pontius Pilate, and you all agreed that Pontius Pilate needs to look older and to look bald, and your son was the only one who could dare to shave his head to look bald to play that part. You see, when you get intrigued by what they are doing, you get to hear what's going on. But if you put your arms akimbo and you're forever rebuking your children, you don't get anywhere. You may want to commend your son for being the brave one and allowing himself to have his hair shaved like that. Overlook what you can. Don't fight every battle. And teach your children responsibility. If they are playing at church, if they are participating in a play at church, be involved with them. And point number 11, encourage these children to participate in a teens group at church. Since teenagers are influenced by other teenagers in the peer group situation that we talked about, we have created a teaching to parents that we call Peers Without Pressure. Be involved with the peers of your children. Parents can share their experiences around the table. Invite your children's friends to your home and talk with them around the table, and create an environment where your children's friends love to come to your home because you are involved in their lives. Be a fun parent. Don't be the kind of parent the kids avoid because you're always criticizing them. Make your home a den where the other children love to hang out. They come to your home, they watch movies, and you fix popcorn for them and are involved in their lives.